In this episode of ICS Connects, I'm speaking with Steen Jakobsen, and we talk about the Dubai Association Center that changed the way the Convention Bureau is interacting with associations and scientific, medical, and professional leaders. So listen in and let's explore the future of exchange. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to ICS Connects. I'm here today with Steen Jakobsen, the Assistant Vice President of Dubai Business Events and City Operations. Welcome to ICS Connect, Steen.
Well, thank you, Matthias, and thank you for having me.
Steen, what I want to focus, there's so many things to discuss when we talk about Dubai and the world in general right now, but the one thing we wanted to focus in today is the Dubai Association Center, which I know is very close to your heart. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the Dubai Association Center is and how it came to be.
Well, Dubai Association Center was an initiative that was set up in 2014 in collaboration between the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Department of Tourism, and Dubai World Trade Center to support and license regional and international associations in setting up and having a presence here in Dubai. You know, Dubai has for many years had a very strong business sector, and we are a growing knowledge hub, and we have a lot of multinationals. We have a very strong government sector and a very strong academic sector. However, the association sector in Dubai has not been as strong and developed as you see in other parts of the world. And it was really that recognition of the important role that associations play for knowledge transfer, education, the transfer of skills, certification, scientific advancement, investment, economic development, industry growth, and all what the associations they contribute in a wider societal picture. And that made us realize that we needed to stimulate the establishment and the growth of a much stronger association sector. So the first step was to change the law because the legal framework was not in place at that time for associations to register and set up as a nonprofit. So we had that done, and second step was then to set up a team or an entity, and that became Dubai Association Center, that could support the associations, guide them in setting up, open doors for them locally, and also facilitate their growth. And then the third step was to create a dynamic environment, an office space where the associations, they can live, where they can do business. And we've done that here in the central business district of Dubai, where we've set up offices for them in a brand new building. So I'd say we've come a long way since 2014, and we're quite happy with the progress that the association center has made so far.
So can I just ask, are those associations mostly UAE associations now, Dubai associations, regional, or is it a mix of that?
It's a good mix of regional and international associations, and they come from all sectors. We now have about 70 associations that are established and licensed, and they are from healthcare, they are from science, they are from industry, transportation, and retail and construction. It's a good mix of association headquarters, so global headquarters of associations, of regional offices for global associations, regional associations as such, and also chapters that have been set up. We have a good pipeline of associations who is interested to know more, and there's ongoing conversations with associations. So there's a lot of interest really that we've seen so far.
Do you see some successes that already stem from this, kind of some successes for the city, for business events?
Well, obviously, the fact that we've come so far already and now have more than 70 associations that were here in Dubai before, they're now set up and they're contributing in a massive way to driving our knowledge economy. Another milestone for us has been the 2 editions of the Dubai Association Conference that we've done. First one in 2017, the second one in 2019. That one we had more than 300 association executives from the region, but also internationally. It provided a very strong international or a very strong educational program with some international experts and thought leaders. And it provided really a great platform for our association community here in Dubai to come together with the international association community.
Yeah.
The associations in Dubai themselves and or in the association center are very active, and that's really, I'd say, the key success, that we see them do a lot of activities for their members, training, professional development, certification, networking among the members, advocacy work, and that's really what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to create a vibrant association community that supports the growth of the knowledge economy here in the UAE and the wider region.
So it's actually quite fascinating that something like this will be driven or at least strongly supported by Dubai Business Events, by an organization like that. What did it do to your organization, to Dubai Business Events, and your relationship with the scientific, professional, medical community, kind of, because you're now not just the people that provide them with bid documents and block hotel rooms for them, you actually have become a much closer partner, I would assume, right?
Well, that's exactly right, Matthias. So our role has changed from being a traditional convention bureau, and as a traditional convention bureau, we still fulfill that role of having that, where the primary conversations with associations, like many convention bureaus, they do, you have a conversation around hosting their events. How can you help? How can you facilitate? How can you support events coming into the city? Our associations in Dubai Association Center, they also do a lot of meetings themselves locally, and many of them are also involved in bringing global conferences. However, meetings and conferences has not been the primary focus for Dubai Association Center. It's more of a byproduct of having the associations in your city. But for us, the international associations are really far more important than the meetings and conferences alone. So with Dubai Association Center, our conversation with associations have changed, has developed. Now it's a broader conversation we have, a conversation on how we can support the long-term strategy and also the legacy of these associations, how we can support them in delivering services to their members, help them grow their membership, get access to funding, establish partnerships with government partners in the industry, et cetera, et cetera. And for me, who's been in the meetings industry for many years, this is so interesting. It has really broadened our scope. It has broadened our role, and it's very, I think, satisfying that we've put ourselves in a position where we can contribute to the growth of associations and at the same time to the knowledge economy of the city at a whole new level.
And that must have changed the way you operate, right? Kind of the way the kind of stakeholders Dubai Business Events works with and kind of the expertise you can provide. You must look at it differently than other convention bureaus now, I assume.
Well, one of the things, of course, that we learned quite early on, that it also set new requirements for our skill sets. We need to be able to have that conversation with associations on different areas than just hosting their meetings and conferences. So it did provide, I'd say, some good challenges for myself, my team, and everyone else in Dubai Association Center, from Dubai Chamber, Dubai World Trade Center, that we could have these conversations with the associations that went far beyond hosting the meetings and conferences. And we've always been very closely connected to the government sector, to universities, and to the corporate sector, and of course also to the tourism and the event sector in Dubai. But with Dubai Association Center, I see us operate more strategically. I see us operate more long-term. And I think when you work with an association for an event and the local community, it tends to become quite sort of operational and tactical and transactional. So the impact on the association community would therefore be relatively short-term before we established the association center. But now our local stakeholders have come to understand the importance and the significance of having that strong presence of associations in our city, what it does in building intellectual capital, attract new investment, attract talents, and identify solutions to common challenges and so on. And our stakeholders also come to appreciate that we fulfill that role via association center.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. Do you think, I mean, you are in the Best Cities Alliance, and I know between different convention bureaus, you do share expertise and so on. And I'm pretty sure you shared a lot about this, but in a nutshell, what do you think other destinations can learn from your experience in kind of building up the association center? I know not every city has the same needs or around having an association center established because there's associations already in the region, but in general, what are some learnings that some people can take from it?
One of the learnings is, and I think everyone in the industry understands that meeting legacy or impact is an important topic that we focused on for a good few years now. It's a trending topic, and I'd say rightly so. A lot of destinations has made really good progress, and it seems to create new synergies between associations and their host cities. Our contribution to that conversation is around the impact of creating and growing strong association community permanently in your destination. And we share this vision with other cities. In 2015, we established the Global Association Hub Partnership in collaboration with Singapore, with Washington, DC, and with Brussels, to collaborate and share knowledge and insights with each other, so we constantly can expand our understanding of the strategies behind associations, the challenges that they face, and that we collectively can help support a strong association community in each of our 4 cities. We came together with Singapore, with Brussels, and Washington, DC, because all 4 cities really share the same vision, committed to building a strong association community, and understand the importance of that. And already also, the 4 cities each have an ecosystem around the association sector that helps support the associations, including, of course, support and understanding from government and any other that are sort of surrounding association community.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's extremely important to kind of have that collaboration. And I'm always happy that you are all very willing to share in general, like your expertise as well. Moving forward, probably there's going to be a lot of need for that expertise, as associations need to really look at some sort of common knowledge to move forward, as it gets harder and harder after COVID, and we all need to kind of look at our strategies again and our long-term plans. And so the common knowledge and the shared knowledge is so important. And I think you, the Convention Bureau, and other convention bureaus have done a great job in facilitating that. Sorry, Steen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to that, because you're absolutely right. And of course, what COVID also has brought is immense challenges for also the association sector. So associations are also now re-looking at their strategies and their tactical activities and what to do. Many associations, they are facing a lot of challenges. They're losing members, they're losing funding, they're not able to provide their programs and their services as they has before. So the support that associations can get from the surrounding ecosystem and the cities that they are located in, I think is more important now than ever. It's a critical moment for us to step up and support our associations to ensure that they remain, that they can continue, that they, just like the corporate sector, gets through the crisis that we're in now and comes out on the other side in a good position so they can continue to provide and play that really important societal role that associations they do. So that's why we're having conversations we're having with our associations at the moment is, how can we support them long term? How can we contribute to their strategy? How can we ensure that they remain relevant, that they are sustainable long-term perspective? That's very critical.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that's exactly where we need the advocacy of cities like yours that have the experience of what additional value associations bring, because we are still operating from, not all of us, I'm not saying, but there's still a lot of the industry is operating on a value per room night or value per delegate that comes in. So it's all focused on this one item where associations provide values to a city or to a community, which is when they host a conference and the value they bring in. But the greater societal value that you just mentioned is so important that that's really something we need to stress more and more as we get out of this crisis, because this is going to be something that we really have to focus on to look at this whole thing in a much more holistic picture, because not everybody's going to be going to get through this crisis. Not every association is going to get through it. At the end of the day, we're probably going to be worse off for it if we don't understand that certain things, even if they don't have the highest revenue per head in their conferences, the association itself provides so many other incentives and values to a city, to a community, to society as a whole, that we really need to look after that.
And that's why you need to have that focus, which is long term. And I know it's difficult, especially for a lot of DMOs at the moment, with the pressure from their stakeholders and their funding partners to keep that long term perspective, because there is a demand right now for delivering business in the short term, of course, with the pressure that we're all under. But you've got to fight for sort of the right to keep that long term perspective on things, because there is a risk that if you lose sight of the long-term objective, then it's just going to be something that benefits you short time trying to deliver business. You've got to keep the long-term perspective.
I fully agree. On that note, and I want to go a bit from the macro global view to where you are right now. You're in Dubai, you're in the Middle East, and we're looking at a standstill of the industry right now, and things are gonna restart again. What do you think is the positioning that your region actually has moving forward? Like, how do you think Middle East will do? How do you think Dubai will do? What do you think your positioning will be in the international meetings market for the next few years?
Well, right now, of course, we are challenged by the pandemic, just like anyone else. But Dubai and the UAE is in a good position. We're doing well. There was a very strong, very rapid response to the pandemic, and things are under good control. The testing and contact tracing here in Dubai and the UAE has really been second to none, and one of the most advanced worldwide. It allowed us to open our borders again for international visitors in July. We resumed our business events sector in October, and we've already seen a number of conferences and exhibitions take place. And there's a good number lined up towards the end of the year and also going into 2021. So life has in many ways returned to normal here, and we're thankful for that with only minor restrictions. That, I think, places us in a good position when we're looking post-pandemic. We are quite optimistic and positive that Dubai will continue to play a role in connecting the world. Obviously, with a strategic location that we have in Emirates Airlines that can help us connect all continents through Dubai. I think that will become even more important in a post-pandemic world, that you have easy access, that I think the world will continue to gravitate around the big business hubs around the world, whether that's in Europe, North America, or Asia Pacific. Dubai certainly plays that role in this part of the world. Our city continues to develop new infrastructure, new offerings, as Dubai never stands still, and it's one of the most dynamic cities in the world. I think that will position us well to capture some of the opportunities and some of the business that will follow post-pandemic.
Are you at all worried about the regionalization of meetings? I mean, Dubai is in a similar situation as I'm right now in Singapore, or I used to be in Vienna, or like you do have regional meetings, of course, but the majority of your income is actually coming from big international meetings. Actually, take Vienna out because they still get the European meetings, which are quite important. But if you're based in the Middle East or Southeast Asia or so, the really big meetings that come in are usually the international ones. Are you worried that international meetings are going to lose some of their kind of influence in benefit of some of the big European or American associations?
I'm looking at it a little bit differently, because we've always been competing very hard with other cities around the world for the global international conferences, and there aren't that many of them. So that piece of the pie is not for any city that big. It's mostly the regional meetings, especially for North American destinations, for European, that has a large regional market to tap into. With the growth of a much stronger regional association community that we're fostering via our association center, we are building up more local and regional meetings. So the fact that some international associations perhaps will change or cut back their global conferences, they will do more regional events. That, combined with our growth of our own regional and local meetings, I think will put us in a good place. And it's totally understandable how international associations are looking at their events at the moment and are finding ways that makes most sense for themselves and their members. So as such, we're not worried or concerned. There'll be other things that will make up for this. Yeah,
but you see an evolution still. It's gonna change slightly how those meetings will come to be, and there's going to be a strong regional host component, most likely, or partner component at least. Do I hear you correctly on that?
There will be changes, but I think there will be changes, and we just have to welcome and embrace these changes that are coming, and make sure that we as a host city, that we're able to accommodate and provide support, whether an international association wants to put their global conference in Dubai, like many have done and will continue to do so, or if they want to do a regional event that is focused on the Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia only.
Yep. Let's see where this goes. I still hope we will maintain a lot of the international meetings, because I strongly believe in international collaboration, especially in the scientific and medical world. And I think the vaccine development shows that a lot of it happens through international collaboration and international kind of liaisons. Steen, I want to end this conversation with a bit of a personal question. You're Danish originally, and you moved to the Middle East. What were some of the things that surprised you when you moved? Like, what were some of the things that you found maybe a little unusual or surprising?
Yeah, well, I came to Dubai in 2013 from Copenhagen after working for a number of years with the Copenhagen Convention Bureau. I came to Dubai on a 2-year contract. Now I've been here more than 7, and I think that says something in itself. I've no intention of leaving Dubai anytime soon. And I think I've gotten accustomed to and to appreciate the great lifestyle that you find here in Dubai. There's so much to do, great weather, it's a safe destination. It's very welcoming and an open destination that's really easy to settle into and to live in. Of course, easy connectivity when you can travel to go around the world. But for me, it's really been the people that makes the difference. The friendliness, the hospitality, and I'd say the outlook and the visions of the Emiratis, how they are very ambitious, not settling for anything but the best, and for being number one, and that comes from the very leadership of the country. Also, the speed of actions from an idea is conceptualized to a decision is made to execution is happening. That time span is very, very short, and that makes it very dynamic to live here and to work here.
Yeah, you definitely have become a great advocate for the city. Thank you so much for joining us today, Steen. Really been very interesting to hear more about Dubai Association Center, which I knew quite a bit about, but I definitely learned a lot today about it. And I think it's a great model that we need to embrace, and a lot of good learnings about how we should collaborate with associations we should have collaborated all along, but especially now moving forward. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Matthias. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for listening.